Welcome to another edition of Paradox TV, that's Beyond Belief TV. What are we looking at? It's a news update coming to ya. What are we talking about? What are we saying? Do you remember weeks, months ago, I said what would happen? I said what would happen. And look at it. Am I a genius? No, because I believe that anyone can see these events unfolding. Anyone can see the events unfolding as to where we are now. So what did we see? We saw Britain went into an EU referendum on the 23rd of June 2016, and we said then that if Britain, the British people, can see exactly what Europe is and what it represents, and they would leave the EU if they could see through all the rubbish and the lies and the deceit. There was no benefit in it at all. And what happened on the 23rd of June? We voted out. Then Mr. Cameron decided to go walkabout. Didn't step down, but said he didn't believe in it, so he wouldn't be doing it, and he was going to step down because the British people must be respected. And then what happened? It went from a 5-horse race. It was never a 5-horse race. But all these things, it's all perception to you. Yeah, it went down, and Mrs. May got the vote. So where are we now? Mrs. May is going around the country. The first stance, she said, you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, Brexit means Brexit, and we're going to come out of the EU. But we're not going to do it for 6 months. We're not going to do it for 6 months, We're not going to do it for 6 months. So now what's happening? We're now in a position where, as I said, between now and the 6-month period, they're going to make things. Those people that are in charge, those people that are pulling the strings, are saying, well, what we need to do is we need to make things a little bit difficult for them so that they don't actually want to leave the EU. Yeah? But you see, the problem is there's someone else out there. There's something, the misrepresentation of this world is that the people that think they're in control actually have no control. Because whatever they're doing, there's always a counter. Wherever there's evil, do you know what? There's good. When that light shows up, it smashes it to pieces. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing that the migration program, or the immigration program that was set out by Mrs. Merkel to bring in lots and lots of radical Islamists, which is what's happened, has now come, and what we're seeing in Germany, what we're seeing in France is nothing short of disgusting. Nothing short of disgusting. We're seeing in America, that it's almost beyond belief. So the problem with America at this point in time, going slightly off subject, but the problem with America at this point in time is the fact that there's 2 people going to be running for the presidency, and is either one a very good bet? The challenge is you've got the status quo being Hillary Clinton. How she's even running to be the president is bananas. And we've got Mr. Trump, who is a recognised businessman, and they're doing all they can now to belittle him and make him seem small and insignificant and all these other things. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But if you listen to what the brother says, if you actually listen to what the guy says, he makes a lot more sense. And I'm not saying he's perfect, but he makes a lot more sense than what Mrs. Clinton does. A lot more sense. But people don't actually listen to what he's saying. The people that are listening to the show, I'm sure you listen to what he says, but majority people don't listen to what the actual guy is saying. All they do is they just take a very small perception of it and go, he stands for this, and he stands for that, and he stands for this, and he stands for that. And the truth is, there's a guy there that wants to rejuvenate his country. I believe he does. And if you look over the interviews the last 20, 30 years, you will see the guy's actually, his heart has been all the way through. He said the same things. So you can be sure with the guy there, he's going to stand his ground, and he's going to say, do you know what? I'm not going to accept this stuff anymore. The people don't need to accept this stuff anymore. But then you've got the other side of it. Yeah, you've got the Obamas, who, you've got the rapper Obama, and you've got Michael or Michelle or whatever he's calling her now, where, they're kind of looking at it on, no, what we need to do, right? We need to take all their rights, take them all away, take every single one of their rights away. Smash the Constitution in half. Yeah, take all their rights away. But look, what we're going to do for you, while we're rape and pillaging your system and your society and your values, you as the great American public, and much like great English public as well, British public as well, exactly the same thing. But look, what we're going to do for you, right, is we're going to do a dance. Yeah? We're going to get along some famous people who are all part of the same problem, all part of the same challenge. Woo! And we're going to do a dance for you. We're going to do a dance. We're going to get jiggy. Yeah, we're going to star on some TV programs and other things because we want you to feel that we're popular, and we want you to do that because what we're doing is we're creating a diversion. Yeah, we're creating a diversion. And while we're creating that diversion, we're taking all your stuff away because we don't give a monkeys about you. That's what they're doing. Same in this country. Exactly the same in the United Kingdom. To me, the United Kingdom is the greatest country in the world, and it deserves a lot more than it's getting. Its people aren't being heard. We've got a leader in charge now who everyone's trying to emulate as being the next Margaret Thatcher, and she's not a shadow on her. Not a shadow on her. And we're seeing, you know, the way the media is so crazy, man. So crazy, mainstream media. One moment they're over here, fear, fear. Over here, fear, fear. Over here, fear, fear. I heard in the paper, I was reading in the Daily Mail yesterday, that, you know, the Pope has come out and said that Poland need to lower their borders to let in more refugees. This is the same Pope, yeah, who's just had one of his priests, one of his throat slit over in France. The same Pope, by these same people that are being allowed in, by this same ideology. Yeah, it's not about the people, and this is really important. It is not about the people. What it's about the ideology that is taught to these people. And these people, if that's their mindset, they don't want to know the truth. And it's the government's fault. Our government, you see, the challenge, and this is a big challenge, the major problem we've got is that when, and this is probably what they wanted, but when good, honest people that have been brought up in tradition and other things, when they don't feel protected, yeah, when they don't feel protected, what happens is they start to go down a vigilante route because they believe that's the only way they can protect themselves and protect their families. The governments aren't protecting us. They're just saying, no, let more in, let more in, let more in, let more in. Let's see what happens. Yeah? Let's see what happens. We need some big explosions because we need people to go nuts so we can take away more of their stuff. We can take away more of their freedoms, more of their equality. But you see, there's a difference running, but there's an underlying current which runs through that. Underlying current which runs through that, which is where good and truth will stand. Where honesty and morality will stand. The world can't handle truth. It can't handle truth because it doesn't know what to do with it. Because when it shows up, people have to run away. They have to run away and hide. Much like, see, we got a pope there who, and this is bizarre, flies over to one of the borders, picks up 12 Muslims, yeah? Muslim, and then I'm going to... But why then, Mr. Pope, Pope Francis, whatever your name is, why pick up 12 Muslims to signify the 12 tribes of Israel? Yeah, and I know what you're up to and what you're doing. You're washing their feet, kissing their feet, which is fair enough. If you want to bow down, and funnily enough, your God, the God that you worship, is the same God that they worship, same God Zionism worships, yeah? So, you know, figure that out for yourself. But what I care about is I care about a solution to this challenge. I care about a solution to this challenge. That's what I care about. I want to see my children grow up in a society which is where it's got God centered in it, where it's got Jesus centered in it, where it's got the Holy Spirit centered in it. And who are you, Supreme Courts? Who are you, Supreme Courts? Who are you, the people, the academics? Who are you anyway? Who gave you the right to change laws that have been fought for? Who gave you the right? Nobody. You're just part of the same system. And you think You think that by doing these things, you're going to get on, that you're going to be safe. Let me tell you a story. His name's Judas Iscariot. When the enemy finished with Judas Iscariot, do you know what his wages were? He got 30 pieces of silver, but he was also found hanging from a tree where the whole centre of him came out. Yeah? Hanging from a tree where the whole centre of him came out. That's the wages. That's the wages that you can expect. Because there's nothing good that will come out of it. And you might think, well, no, I'll be all right. Yeah, if I turn my country over. I read an interesting quote from Mr. Cameron, and I might be paraphrasing here, but he said that it is not the Islamic people that need to change, but it's the mainstream British people that need to change. And I have to ask the question, Mr. Cameron, yeah, a guy that I voted for, I have to ask that question. Well, where does that come from? Where's the logic in that? Where's the logic in that? So, if you're in something good and you're in something right, and it's been fought for, not by me, yeah, but by people before me, my father's father, etc., that, you know, the people that went to war and other things, and they stood up against the armies of the enemy, yeah, and they stood up against evil, and they've been counted. Where do you get off saying that? And the truth is, Miss Cameron, I already know the answer to that because you were bored off. That's why when you gave your speech and said, you know what, I'm stepping down, I'm going to see the Queen so to make sure she can let me step down, you went whistling, because you were whistling all the way to the bank, humming a tune all the way to the bank. But we're on to you. The people are onto you, because what's going to happen and what you're going to see is happen is there's going to be a move of righteousness taking its place, and you can't stand it. But the beautiful thing is you can't control it either, because people are so sick and tired of this rubbishness that you're ramming down their throat. Paradox TV is designed to be more than just showing you issues, challenges. It is designed to show you ideas, to show you something more. And if we have something that connects us, that defines us, not where we have people on the streets in one area saying that the British police need to die and British soldiers need to die and they're going to fight a war against us, and then they're just allowed back into the country. Those aren't the things which are going to define us. They're not going to unite us. And you know this already, don't you? Politicians of the world. You know this already. Mr. Cameron, Mrs. May, Mr. Osborne, Mrs. Merkel, Mr. Obama. You know it already. And it's all just part of the same corruption. Because at the centre of all people is a longing for power and money. But it's an illusion that you're going to lose. Because the truth is you never really had any power anyway. And you'll discover that as we go down the line. So Paradox TV, watch all these stories starting to come out. As I said, there will be, between now and the end of this year, there will be a massive event which says that Britain can't leave the EU. Watch it. Just watch it. It's bizarre. Honestly, it's absolutely crazy. Came out the other day, well, we need to make sure that the Irish people and the Scottish people are all right before we... No, we as a nation voted. Mrs. May, as a nation we voted. And as a nation we stood united through all the lies and all the propaganda. And now it's for you to deliver, to give us our dues. Show that it's a democracy. There shouldn't be a death to democracy. There should be life to a democracy. And that's the way it should be. So this is Paradox TV signing off, because the truth matters.